Now that you've downloaded the KMZ file, it probably took a little while. It's a fairly large file. I think it's right around 16 megabytes. So hopefully you were patient for that. And if you have Google Earth on your computer already, the file icon should look something like this, because Google Earth becomes the default for opening up a KMZ file. If for some reason it isn't the default, you can right-click the file, and usually you get like an open with. And here I have two Google Earth programs on my computer. The sort of the default one, or I should say the normal one, and then this Google Earth Pro. You're likely to have the normal one, which is fine. You can have it open with that. And what you'll notice is I already had Google Earth open, so the map will import directly into Google Earth. And we're just going to let the tiles complete, and now the map is completely into Google Earth. Now what you'll notice is over here on this sidebar, there's a couple of tools at the bottom here that you can use. One is sort of a search tool, but it's this one this is the opacity tool. And when the file that you just clicked on is highlighted up here, that opacity tool will deal with the opacity of that file. Some people have a hard time finding the opacity because the search tool is open and now you don't have the opacity. So you have to click the opacity button and then use the slider. The other problem you'll run into is if you have a different file highlighted, and I'm going to bring that up, and what you'll notice is now the map is highlighted, but there's these red lines here that that's how I worked on developing these, where the gullies were. And you'll notice those red lines come and go. So the opacity tool can only deal with one thing at a time. So if I have the main one here that is the maps, you'll see those red lines are there. If I want to deal with the opacity of those red lines, I highlight that and use the opacity. I'm not going to use those lines, so I'm going to uncheck it. I'm going to make sure the file that I clicked on is checked and highlighted, and now I can work with that map over Google Earth. I'll just tilt this around a little bit and show you a little, some of my labels were a little difficult. How they import is a little difficult. So I wanted to just show you maybe what could be a little confusing with the labels. When I have this on my map, it actually lines up a little better. So the labels for the gullies are a little off. Here it shows central is right over the diagonal, but the icon is this right here, and this is central gully. The icon for this is diagonal, and that's diagonal gully. And even when I go further away or closer, and it didn't do that on the map. So central is this one, and that's diagonal. There's a little bit, it's a little less confusing in Tuckerman's, but the tightness. So this one here is the lip. This is sluice, this kind of S-shaped one, and this is right gully. And you can see right gully, this is the icon for right gully, this is the icon for sluice, this is the icon for the lip, and this is the lobster claw. The Gulf of Slides came out much better. the gullies lined up with the names much better. South Snowfields, gully number 1, or the main gully. Gully number 2, gully number 3, and then the boot spur gullies are these. Now with dealing with the opacity, I can bring the opacity and I can see the underlying bed surface. I can then change the opacity and get a sense of how steep things are based on the color. There's a color key in the blog, so feel free to refer to that so that you understand what the dark green, light green, yellow, kind of red, blue, and purple all mean, black. And so you can get an idea of the steepness in various places. The accuracy is only as accurate as the data from the USGS. So probably don't need to say this. Things should get double checked in the field, but this is a nice way to do a planning tool. And if you notice, I didn't line up all the climbs or all the ski gullies, just the ones on the east side so you can have a sense. This is Oaks Gulf here, and you can see I have it nice and clean without dark lines so you can better see the terrain. I figured the 3 gullies, the 3 ravines on the east side were well known enough that with the lines, it kind of orients you a bit. But now you can look at things like Ammonoosuc, Monroe Brook, and the various gullies here in off of sort of down off of Clay, you know, between Clay and Mount Washington in the Great Gulf. And you can see steepness a little bit. I hope you enjoy the KMZ file and its overlay over the Google Earth. And this KMZ file covers all of the presidentials. So I hope you enjoy that.